Hello, everybody. Hopefully, you're doing well on this Sunday, February 11th. It's Super Bowl Sunday. Yes, of course, I'm rooting for the Chiefs. Why wouldn't I? Okay, did spend 3.5 years out there in the Sunflower State, and now that they've already knocked off my Bills, we've just got to get behind them. They've got to do the deed, and I think it's going to happen. Anyway, this is not my regular weekly update. We're on here because we're tracking a storm, as we mentioned during our update this past Wednesday. Interesting system set to arrive across much of the region. We're talking about the Ohio Valley specifically, the Appalachians, and then into the Northeast, where already winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings have been posted. I did want to present this special update because this is going to be a kind of a tricky system, and I don't want someone to be surprised if they wake up to 4 or 6 inches of snow and they didn't know it was going to happen. Okay, so we're going to be covering where I think that potential is going to be greatest. We'll time it out. It is going to be tomorrow night, but we'll time it out for you for the Ohio Valley. And then it's tomorrow night, late tomorrow night, and really it's more like during the day on Tuesday for much of the Northeast. So let's get into it and talk about what's happening. We'll start you with the satellite perspective here. The storm in question is the one that's featured very prominently across the Lone Star State, south central U.S. You can see that counterclockwise swirl there, and a lot of jet stream wind energy, both the southern branch and the northern branch involved, and this is going to help invigorate that low to the point where it's going to produce some heavy rainfall, some lightning, some thunder at times, and then eventually we think a swath of some pretty heavy wet snow. Now, I want to start you, and I'll start you by showing you where we already have the watches and the advisories that have been posted. We're going to go right on over to our main computer, and you can see the National Weather Service out of Louisville just issued this within the last 20 minutes. That is a winter weather advisory that does cover most of or all of the southern Indiana counties in the Louisville viewing area, and all of north central Kentucky, including up into the Covington and Cincinnati area. So that's a winter weather advisory. Elsewhere, we have ongoing winter storm warnings for the panhandle of Texas, western Oklahoma, parts of the Ozarks in Missouri and Arkansas. And then you can see upstream, we have both winter storm watches and also winter storm warnings in effect for much of the Northeast and New England. Without a doubt, that's where the heaviest snow will occur. But in some of these advisory areas, I think we could wake up with a surprise by Tuesday morning, at least in some cases. So let's get right down to the details of what's creating this and what the expectation will be. So the jet stream pattern looks like this. It's kind of complicated, but we talked many times about when the southern branch and the northern branch phase together. So this one's phasing the two jet streams, creating additional lift. It's bringing down some of the cold that we would need, again, for that transition over to some heavier snowfall. All right, so let's start you with the GFS, and I'm going to take you over to the very latest run of the GFS here. And it's a very intense low the GFS is painting, and it's been multiple runs now, where it takes it from a 998 low Monday afternoon across northern Alabama, and then strengthens it to a 987 coastal low, and then it blows up to a 977 low. Within 24 hours, we're talking about a drop of about 20 millibars. So not quite a bomb cyclone, but you're also not talking about something that's too far away from that. And look behind this, though, as it moves through the Ohio Valley, you go from heavy rain, maybe some lightning and thunder, to a heavy swath of snow, and then that snow really picks up steam once it works into the Appalachians. So that's what it looks like from the GFS. Let's take a look over here with the NAM, that is the high resolution North American model. And this model, again, showing that it's really the two American models that are very bullish on snow for southern Indiana and north central Kentucky. But this run here shows that changeover from heavy rain to heavy wet snow. And this is just going to happen over just a few hours here tomorrow night, with that swath moving into the Northeast, and then very heavy snowfall for portions of the mid-Atlantic. This one is a little further south, which would definitely affect New York City. They don't have any warnings there. Would affect Boston and the big cities along the Northeast. So this is what we're watching for you. I'm going to take you on over to the European forecast model. We'll talk about the jet streams, and then we'll talk about snowfall totals. Jet stream showing the situation here where we do have, again, an active southern branch that's beginning to merge with some of that northern branch energy. And we're going to have not one area of lift, but multiple areas of lift. And where these two areas of lift, and one of them's right here in the exit region of the approaching low, but also the entrance region of this other jet stream. So both these two areas are going to kind of converge right across the Ohio River Valley, which is where we're going to see a lot of that strengthening occurring. So as that jet lifts to the north, it's going to pick up and mix with some of that cold air. And then again, for the northeast, this is going to turn out to be, I think, a pretty classic nor'easter as it blows up. All right, a close-up look of the GFS here. This is the one that's most bullish for snow across southern Indiana. It takes that low from 1,001 across northern Mississippi. And this is about 10 a.m. Tomorrow, and it deepens it to 994 really fast, and then it kind of struggles as it goes over the Appalachians, and then back to about a 987 low here by Tuesday morning. And there's that deformation band behind it. We call it a deformation band. Kind of a technical term, but it really has everything to do with divergence aloft. Air aloft that's kind of spreading. It causes the air to rise underneath it. And during that deformation zone, underneath that deformation zone, you'll have that potential there for some heavy snowfall. Not all the models are putting it there. The European model places it a little further south. I'll show you that here. So there's the GFS. So let's compare that to the Euro. And the Euro's got some very similar ideas. It's just a little further south with the storm. And it's not changing it all over the snow exactly as early as the GFS. But either way, they're both going to produce some snow for either southern Indiana or central northern Kentucky. As well as, again, they both agree that the mid-Atlantic, the Northeast, is going to see some pretty good snow totals as well. All right, so as far as temperatures during the event, we are going to go from a few degrees above freezing. Precipitation starts at about 42 degrees for the lower Ohio Valley, and then it drops down to a couple of degrees below freezing here by Tuesday morning. So in the scheme of things, temperatures are going to be relatively warm. So this is going to be a wet and a melty snow. As far as snowfall amounts, let me jump on into snowfall potential here. And this is the 24-hour snow. And we'll start you with the Euro. The Euro, again, not quite as aggressive as the GFS, but it still shows a pretty good swath of snow, mainly in Kentucky, of around 2 to 4 inches. Locally higher amounts in that blue shade there north of Lexington. But again, I don't want you to look at the specific placement. I just want you to look at the general idea. And then you compare this over with the GFS, and the latest run of the GFS is pulled back a little closer to what the Euro is showing. So a general 2 to 4 inches of snow, locally higher, this time up near Covington, Kentucky, maybe a little heavier with this latest run. That's the 18Z run. This is the prior run showing an area of 6 inches plus across the right along the Ohio River, or just north of the Ohio River, into southern Indiana and north central Kentucky. So you get the general idea, and I'm going to show you one more. This is the NAM, the 3K NAM, also showing with the latest run a general 2 to 4, locally 5-6 inches of snow in a pretty narrow band. But again, the placement of that band is going to be everything. But overall, I think the trend is that some heavier snow can be expected. Now, let's go up to the Northeast and talk about who's going to get the worst of it there. And this is the European model, which has been pretty steady. It keeps the heaviest snow just outside of New York City. I think New York City should probably be put under an advisory. Boston should see good snow. Hartford should see good snow northbound all the way to about Albany, New York. Now that's the that's the Euro. Here's the GFS, and it's again pretty similar in the placement of that. So that should be a high confidence forecast, which is why they do have winter storm warnings already in effect for parts of this area. Snowfall totals, this is the GFS coming in at a good area of 6 to 10, locally 12 inches of snow. So looking at the Euro, yeah, and that's a good area of 6 to 12, locally a little bit more than that. So that's the way it looks. I don't want anybody to be surprised. It's going to snow for parts of the region, and we'll continue to monitor for areas that don't see a lot of snow every year, like the lower Ohio Valley. I'll be sure to provide an additional update tomorrow if that looks like that's going to continue to pan out, which I think it's going to for some people. So with that being said, let's enjoy this game. Hopefully it's a close game, and hopefully it's injury-free. But at the end of the day, go Chiefs, okay? That's all I'm going to say about that. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and stay warm out there. We got some more cold on the way. We'll talk about that this coming week. And be blessed, my friends. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye.